Working in ceramic restoration, you learn a lot about what can be fixed and what can't. You learn about cracks, how to spot them before they spread, how some things are just too damaged, their structural integrity completely gone. Trying to hold them together? That's just pretending. I never thought I'd apply that lesson to my own family, but here I am. 3 months ago, my entire world felt like it was crumbling. Today, my life is exactly what I wanted it to be. The peace I have now isn't the fake kind I used to force at family dinners. It's real. Solid. And I had to fight like hell to get it. It started, really, 18 months after my divorce. I was finally breathing again, living in this small 1950s house in Indianapolis with Cooper, my rescue dog. Weekends were spent in my garage, refinishing old furniture, jazz playing low, the scent of sawdust in the air. That was my peace. Until one afternoon, last week, I was sanding an old wooden stool, lost in the rhythm, when I heard a car door slam outside. I wasn't expecting anyone. I like it that way. I walked to the front window, and that's when I saw her. It was Chloe, my ex-wife. She was standing on my porch, holding the hand of a little girl, no older than 3. And behind them, pulling into my driveway, was my parents' car. My mom, Janet, got out, clutching a casserole dish like she was arriving for a potluck. My dad, Arthur, adjusted his jacket, as if he was about to give a speech. I just stood there, trying to process what I was seeing. Chloe looked tired. Exhausted. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, sweatpants, an oversized hoodie. The little girl, Mia, was clinging to her leg, looking around like she didn't understand where she was. I opened the door before they could knock. I didn't say anything, just stood there, waiting. And that's when my mom, with that controlling smile she perfected over the years, held up the casserole. "Ethan, sweetheart," she said, "just hear her out." Hear her out. 18 months earlier, Chloe had left me for a guy named Liam, her coworker at the physical therapy clinic. 7 years of marriage, just gone. She packed her stuff into Liam's truck without an apology, without a single tear. Just a breezy, "I need to explore my feelings." And my parents? They were there that day. They watched her load boxes into another man's car, and instead of supporting me, they told me I should fight for her. My mom, Janet, always with the platitudes, "Marriage is complicated." My dad, Arthur, always the philosopher, "Think about what drove her to that point." When I pointed out she was literally leaving me for someone else, they looked at me like I was being dramatic. They stayed in touch with Chloe after the divorce, too. My mom would mention her casually at family dinners, like nothing had happened. Like Chloe hadn't walked out on 7 years without a single glance back. The settlement gave her half our savings. She left me Cooper because Liam was allergic. 6 months later, I found out from a mutual friend that she'd dumped Cooper at a shelter. Apparently, Liam changed his mind about the allergy meds. I went and got him back, of course. Now he sleeps at the foot of my bed in this house, the one I bought after the divorce. This house with its creaky hardwood floors, where I refinish furniture and listen to jazz. For the first time in years, I had actual peace. Not the kind you fake at family gatherings, but real peace. And then Chloe finally spoke. Liam had left her. She'd made mistakes. She was behind on rent. Lost her job. Mia needed stability. And my dad, Arthur, stepped forward, put his hand on my shoulder. "You're a reasonable person, Ethan. You're a good man," he said, my mom nodding enthusiastically in the background. "You have a house. You're doing well. You could help." The little girl, Mia, was just staring at me with these big, brown eyes, completely bewildered. She had no idea she was being dragged into the wreckage of adult decisions that weren't hers. Here's what hit me in that moment, standing on my porch. They didn't come because Chloe wanted forgiveness. They came because they needed a solution. Her life had fallen apart, and instead of helping her themselves, instead of letting her face the consequences of leaving her marriage for another man, they decided to make it my problem. They decided that because I had a house and a stable job, because I didn't burn my life down chasing feelings, I should absorb the fallout of her choices. My mom wasn't holding a casserole, she was holding a bribe. My dad wasn't offering support, he was handing me a script he expected me to follow. Chloe wasn't asking for help, she was asking me to be the backup plan I never agreed to be. I looked at all three of them standing there. I looked at that little girl who deserved so much better than this. And I said one word. No. My mom's face went completely blank. My dad started to say something. Chloe's mouth opened like she was going to argue, and I just stepped back and closed the door. Locked it. I walked back to the garage, turned the jazz back on, and picked up the sander. Behind me, I could hear them. My mom's voice getting louder, Chloe crying, my dad knocking harder, calling my name. But I didn't move. They stood out there for maybe 15 minutes, maybe longer. Then I heard the car doors slam, the engine start, and the sound of them driving away. I sat down on my workbench, looked at Cooper, who had woken up and was staring at me as if waiting for an explanation. My hands had stopped shaking. This wasn't revenge. This was protection. This was me finally recognizing that some people will watch you break, then hand you the pieces like it's your responsibility to fix them. I walked inside, opened my laptop, and created a new document. Title: Actions. Change locks. Install security cameras. Block all phone numbers. Email lawyer. Update emergency contacts. Revise will. I sat there looking at that list, and for the first time in years, I felt like I was in control of my own life. Like I was making decisions based on what I needed, instead of what other people expected from me. My mom called that night at 9:30. I was already in bed, reading, Cooper curled up next to me. I watched her name light up my phone 3 times before it went to voicemail. She called again at 10. Then my dad called at 10:15. I just listened to the notifications pile up like snow in a storm. The next morning, 6 voicemails, 14 text messages. My mom's, all in that disappointed tone, "We need to talk like adults, you're being unreasonable and cruel." My dad's were shorter, just my name, asking me to call back. But there was an edge in his voice I'd never heard before. Something sharp, angry, underneath the surface. I screenshotted every message. Saved every voicemail. Put them all in a folder on my laptop, labeled documentation. Then I blocked both their numbers. Blocked Chloe's number. And I went to work like it was just another day. By Thursday, calls started coming from numbers I didn't recognize. My Aunt Brenda left a message saying I was cruel, that a little girl needed help, and I was turning my back on family. A woman I didn't know, with a different area code, called, claiming to be a friend of Chloe's, saying I should be ashamed of myself for abandoning a child. I didn't answer any of them. Just kept screenshotting, kept saving, kept documenting every single attempt at contact. My boss, David, pulled me aside at lunch. He said I seemed distracted. I told him everything was fine, just family boundary issues, handled. David's good like that, he doesn't pry. Friday morning at 6:35, making coffee, I heard a car. My parents' car. My dad got out, walked up to my porch, tried the door handle. My mom stood behind him, phone in hand. I just stood there, drinking my coffee, watching them through the window. He knocked loud, like, "Open this door right now." I didn't move. He knocked again, called my name, the edge in his voice even sharper now. My mom pressed her face against the window, trying to see in. I stayed perfectly still, where they couldn't see me. They tried for 15 minutes, knocking, calling, checking the side gate. Then they gave up and left. I waited until their car disappeared, then called a locksmith, ordered security cameras online, paid extra for next day delivery. Monday morning, 9 o'clock, meeting with Daniel, the same lawyer who handled my divorce. He doesn't smile much, but he gets things done. I brought my laptop, showed him the documentation folder, everything organized. He actually whistled. "You don't mess around," he said. I told him I learned from the divorce to document everything, to never assume people will be reasonable or honest. He went through the voicemails, the texts, the screenshots from unknown numbers, and leaned back, a look of professional satisfaction on his face. "This is textbook harassment. We can absolutely work with this." I paid him an $800 retainer. Leaving his office, I felt like I'd just put on armor. Like I finally had someone in my corner who understood. The security cameras arrived Tuesday. I installed them that evening. Wednesday afternoon, they caught my parents coming back. My phone buzzed with a motion alert. I watched in real time as they walked up, knocked, waited, then left, confused. They had no idea they were being recorded. I saved every second, added it to the folder with a timestamp. Thursday morning, David called me. He sounded uncomfortable. Apologetic. "Chloe came to the lobby asking for you," he said. I told him if she came back to call the police. I had a lawyer involved, this was officially harassment. He was quiet, then understood. No judgment. After lunch, I called Sarah in HR, explained the situation without unnecessary details. She added Chloe to a restricted visitors list. Security would escort her out immediately if she showed up again. "This kind of thing happens more than people think," she said, and I was grateful she didn't make me explain the whole messy history. Friday, I found a card wedged in my front door. Footage showed my mom's car, her looking nervous, tucking it in. I didn't touch it with bare hands. Kitchen towel, straight to Daniel's office. He opened it with latex gloves. Inside was a handwritten letter from my mom, legacy, forgiveness, your grandfather would be ashamed. Manipulative as hell, Daniel said, shaking his head. It's all about getting you to respond, to break. He added it to the file. We're building something solid, he assured me. The next Tuesday, I left the museum and saw a woman by my car. Mid-50s, warm, friendly smile. Susan, she said, Chloe's mom. Wanted to talk parent to parent. I'm not a parent, I said clearly, unlocking my car. She leaned down, talking about understanding and compassion. I started the engine. Don't contact me again, I told her, then drove away and called Daniel. He said we were building a strong case for restraining orders. Every incident strengthened our position. That night, my friend Natalie texted me. She's Chloe's cousin, we'd stayed friendly. They're planning an intervention. Gonna ambush you somewhere. I thanked her. Sitting in my quiet house, Cooper sleeping on the couch, I realized they weren't done. They were just getting started. They genuinely believed if they pushed hard enough, I'd break. The intervention was scheduled for that Saturday at my parents' house. Natalie gave me the details. Extended family invited, told everyone I needed support. Chloe and Mia would be there, hoping someone would convince me to show up. I didn't go. I stayed home, refinishing the stool. Natalie sent updates, everyone's here. Waiting. Your mom keeps checking her phone. Then, Chloe's crying. Your dad looks angry. They're telling everyone you've changed, become cold. I read the messages, turned off my phone, went back to sanding. The contrast wasn't lost on me. Them, staging an emotional ambush. Me, doing exactly what I wanted to do with my Saturday. Sunday morning, another envelope, taped to my door. Camera footage showed my mom, alone, nervous, taping it with shaking hands. I didn't touch it. Kitchen towel, straight to Daniel's. Same routine. Legacy, forgiveness, family history, your grandfather would be ashamed. Manipulative as hell, he repeated. Textbook emotional manipulation. We're filing for restraining orders this week. Monday afternoon, David called me into his office. He looked uncomfortable. My mom had called the museum, told the receptionist I was having a serious mental health crisis. He was trying to balance concern with the obvious weirdness. I sat down, explained everything calmly, the divorce, the boundaries, the lawyer, the documentation. David listened, nodded, looked relieved when I finished. I'm sorry you're dealing with this. Do what you need to do. We'll support you. I called Daniel from the parking lot. Heard him typing furiously. That's harassment and potentially defamation. We're filing today, he said. That same clarity from the first night settled over me again. The temporary restraining orders were granted Wednesday. The judge, Judge Harding, a woman in her 60s with silver hair, looked at our documentation, our timeline, and signed them without hesitation. Thursday morning, a process server delivered them to my parents' house. Natalie heard from family members, your dad answered, read the papers, crumpled them up, threw them on the ground. He's furious. Your mom's in tears. They're calling you unstable. But the important thing? They'd been served. Officially notified. Any contact from this point forward would be a legal violation, with real consequences. Friday afternoon, at the museum, finishing a Ming Dynasty bowl, security called. Your parents are in the lobby. Family emergency. I could hear my mom's voice, loud, frantic. I told him to call the police immediately. Active restraining orders. Direct violation. I stayed at my desk. David came by 10 minutes later. They claimed your grandmother had fallen, was dying in the hospital. My grandmother died 6 years ago, I told him. He just shook his head. The police gave them a warning, filed an incident report. I emailed a copy to Daniel. Helps our case tremendously for permanent orders, he replied. The grocery store incident happened Sunday. I was buying coffee and eggs, turned into the cereal aisle, and there was Chloe, Mia in the cart. She froze. Her face went pale. I immediately pulled out my phone, started recording. You see me, you leave, I said clearly, calmly, into the camera. Made sure to capture her face, the timestamp, the location, everything Daniel would need. She grabbed the cart, rushed toward the registers without a word. Saved the video, labeled it Exhibit C, sent it to Daniel before I even checked out. Tuesday, Daniel called. My mom had filed a countermotion, claiming I was having a psychological episode, that the restraining orders were based on my mental instability. It's a Hail Mary, he said. No medical records, no evidence. The judge will see right through it. The hearing was scheduled for Friday at 2 p.m. I took the day off to prepare mentally. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Judge Harding was there. And when I walked in, I saw my parents sitting on one side, Chloe positioned between them. It looked staged. A united front, designed to make me look unreasonable. Daniel laid out our case methodically. The timeline, the screenshots, the voicemails, the camera footage, the police report, the grocery store video, the letters, the calls to my workplace, the manufactured emergency, the intervention. Judge Harding listened, took notes. When Daniel finished, she looked directly at my mom. Do you have medical records supporting your claim that your son is psychologically unstable? My mom stammered, said she was just concerned as a mother, that a mother knows. Judge Harding cut her off mid-sentence. Not liking one's family isn't a mental illness, she said firmly. My dad's face turned bright red. Judge Harding granted permanent restraining orders for 3 years. No direct contact, no indirect contact, no third-party contact. Violations would result in immediate arrest and criminal charges. She looked at my parents when she said it, made sure they understood the seriousness. Then she dismissed the court. I walked out without looking back. Daniel shook my hand in the hallway, said I'd done everything right. I drove home in complete silence. 3 months later, my life looks exactly like I wanted it to. I go to work, restore ceramics that have been broken for centuries. I refinish furniture on weekends. I take Cooper camping with my friend Kyle when the weather's nice. I updated my emergency contacts at work to remove my parents completely. Revised my will to leave everything to charity, arts education programs, a domestic violence shelter. My parents are strangers now. Chloe is someone I used to know in another life. The peace I have isn't the fake kind I used to pretend existed at family dinners. It's real, and it's solid. Sometimes the healthiest and most courageous thing you can do is recognize when a relationship, even with the people who raised you, has no structural integrity left to save. What would you have done in my situation?